I don't hear a single thing else.
That's dope because the baby's crying behind me. So cool.
Yo, how old's your kid now?
Dahlia is 3 and Willow is fucking 1.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
What's it like for you?
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's a very big learning experience for sure. Every day is a new thing.
Also, how much did your life change pre-kid and what you thought? Let's start there. Like leading up to it, like, hey, all right, you're gonna be a dad.
It's hella funny that you said that because I was like just looking at my pictures and shit the other day of like when me and her were first starting out and shit, and it was just like it's just hella. It changed so very, very, very much. But pre-kid, it was like, you know, our days were like going to the beach and like doing this, and you know, just we were busy all the time. We were going places and doing things, and you know, little art fairs and whatever, you know, concerts and this, that, whatever, all the things with the friends and shit.
Yeah.
And like, everything after that kind of changed in like the best way, I guess, for us. Cause like that first day when I walked out when Dahlia was born, I was just like, something just felt different about the whole experience, you know what I mean? Life and everything and stuff. But I think really the biggest change was just the responsibility and then wanting to provide for them. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know, I didn't realize until I had them. Like some people, you know, I had friends growing up and shit that were like, oh, be careful when you have kids. Like it's hard. Like it's super hard. I just always heard like kind of negatives. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And it was, you obviously always were like, it's super cool. It's super chill. Like you were always hella happy about it. So I was like, okay, there's people that don't like almost have disdain for it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems. It's like they weren't happy about it, that they were parents. But
dude, I love it.
Yeah, right.
I love being a fucking dad. Even being a dad at 19, that shit's crazy, right?
Sure.
Because like even though like I was a dad at 19, I still lived like 6 months of a party life. Like it was what I didn't do in like my whole high school career, I did in 6 months. It was like every night going to different states, doing different things, like concerts, just figuring out the limits of what fucking alcohol to a young body could do with your friends. You know what I mean? Like just the dumbest shit, making the good stories. So I was like, all right. It got old real quick. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, I'm not really missing anything here. Is it fun occasionally? Yeah, sure. Somebody's 21st here, whatever. It's a Friday night here. We got all the family together this one night out of the year. Sure, go bananas. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I was like, all right, I'm done with that. But once I had a kid, I was like, dude, yeah, this is fucking sick. Scary as shit in my life, but it was so fucking sick. It was like, I got a little mini me.
That's the thing. It's like that anxiety. Like, am I like good enough to do this? Am I like, am I equipped to do this? And it's like, I mean, really, it's like our instinct, you know what I'm saying? So it gets to a point where it's like, you just got to trust your gut and know you'll be fine. Like some people, they struggle with it. Some people really struggle with being a parent, but I don't know. Since, dude, when we first met, you were young still, very young. And that was like, baby B was a baby. So
brother, I've known you before he was born. Like we've talked about this before, but like it was, I think Battlefield 1 was just the beta and the announcement was coming out. So I'm like, yeah. I've known you definitely longer than he's been alive for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember all those chapters unfolding. So it was hella cool to see that through you. And then, I think, just that the love you get from them and then the love that you got to give them. It's like, I don't know. There's something about that. I'm like, I wouldn't trade that shit for anything. Money, any of that. Like, no. You know what I mean?
They could also be the biggest pain in the ass, but they're the best.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, life took kind of a turn too and shit. Like, we were living like a couple hours away from where I work and stuff. So I started getting into hella car accidents in the last few years. My insurance like skyrocketed. Shit's just been kind of like turned upside down because all that. But we moved back out close to work and shit, back to the Bay Area and all that. So like everything's been fucking really good since that. But it was dangerous, man. That 2-hour commute with how crazy people are now and texting and driving and just not paying attention to the road, man. It was like I got ran into a bunch of times, like a couple hit and runs, and then like I fell asleep at the wheel a few times and ended up hitting people. Luckily, nobody got hurt. You know what I'm saying? It was just minor stuff, but enough to where it's like, you know, your shit's still gonna get all messed up. So
yeah, let's get this knucklehead in here. If he is there, he'll figure it out. Ah ha ha. Hi.
She's like, hey, I want to say hi. Say hi.
Hey.
Hi. Who's that? Huh?
Oh, he watched up. He's here.
This knucklehead. This guy, huh?
Freaking 2Castle, dude.
Top 10 Hollywood production coming at you live.
Hell yeah, bro. I was wondering about that because I'm at work right now, so I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna scuff the shit out of this or like I might even sound like doo-doo. I have no idea.
Brother, at the end of the day, I don't give a shit because for me, when it comes down to like doing the podcast, I just always wanted to do it. At the end of the day, it's us just fucking having fun, shooting the shit, and the camera's on while we're having a good fucking time. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be like, all right, now that the camera's off, what the fuck's up, bitch? You know what I mean? Like, just be yourself, man. 110%. That's all I want. There's no strict, you know, focus for this shit. Common sense applied. I have to say that at least.
Are you streaming it or recording it, or how's it work?
So I think I found the most simplest, most efficient way for anybody to get started in podcasting, and it's using the Google Meets, right? So like, hey, you want to do it? Yeah, cool. Send the email, you both have it. Scheduling's done, it's in your calendar. Easiest shit ever. That takes away buying a program to help you stay organized, right? It's already in your fucking email, right? Back and forth communication, drag the file, right? The guest forms just for liability, whatever the fuck else, because you never know, like, hey man, you made $16 million off that video, give me some. And it's like, damn, no. You know what I mean? So there's that shit. And then no, but like when you do it off Google Meets, you could just fucking record it. Is it the best quality? No. But the audio, the functionality, the message, still being present, still being able to say what you need to say is great. Like I've definitely shied away from the perfection of I need to make sure I have a formal guest list and I have this happening in this organization and I need to automate this and AI needs to send this message and the Google form needs to be perfect and everything needs to be formatted this way. Like all that shit. Like I'd get caught up on it. So I was like, fuck that. So I was just do it this way. Get started this way, build just no expectations, no crazy shit. Just have fun.
I think
hell yeah, dude. That's dope.
It's cool when you sent me the link of it originally, how it just added everything right into my phone. It was pretty cool. I was like,
yeah,
okay, this is dope. This is dope.
Yeah. I mean,
I always wondered too, like, how do you get all this together? You know what I'm saying? Like, because with schedules, people's different shit, and we're in different time zones. I'm like, how do you get all this shit together? That made it hella easy.
The time zone thing is a little different. So like that one is like, all right, I try to shoot Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays, either 8 or 8:30 MST. And then it's like, all right, if you can't do that, maybe if I, you know, do the dishes and laundry and take care of, you know, some extra shit around the house, the wife will let me do it on a Saturday. You know what I mean? When that's supposed to be family time. So it's like, all right, let me give and take a little bit. So maybe a Saturday. I actually have one scheduled in 2 weeks with Sunny Jar. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's a Saturday one we just got scheduled today. But yeah, it's a lot of emails. I try to keep it really short and simple. I have an Excel sheet to help me keep track of it. I do this all on my breaks at work, schedule everything, do all the forms and emails because it's midday. It's when people are most awake. Like one guy I'm doing July 9th. He's in Japan.
That's crazy.
And like the timings worked out. But it's like if someone can't fit and like the schedules just don't align, then they don't align, right? And that's okay. And we'll figure it out eventually. Like no worries. But right now, yeah, it's a very set schedule. And I've been super blessed. Like I just did one in the beginning of June, took a week off. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, doubting myself. I was like, quit being a bitch, and then just haven't looked back. Haven't looked fucking back. And it flows. It flows into my daily life schedule. I look forward to it. I'm excited for it. It gives me like an hour and a half, 2 hours just to kick back and be like, what the fuck is up?
Dude, hell yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I like the fucking it's the motivation.
Yeah, it's back. It's back.
That's what it takes, man. We were talking about some shit like that too, about like just trying to find something to do.
What's been going on in the world of B, man? What's the story been for you, man? Because for a long time we all got disconnected in KTG and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And shit, like I'll try to come to streams when you were streaming and stuff, but you know, miss or whatever, so I didn't really always get to catch up with you and really get what was going down. But yeah, what's been fucking good in your world, man? What's been going on?
The good shit is like mentality and personality and just understanding shit. Like it's been a lot of rework, to be honest. There's been a ton of that. Clarity, realization. I will say that that's been great. On top of that, getting married, right? Having not just baby B, but adding multiple B's. So I got a total of 3 kids right now with 1 more on the way. 1 boy, 3 girls. And the work life has been crazy. Off and on, blessed to work in some positions, fucking terrible in others, humbled, egoed, came back, humbled again, every which way, learning, fucking falling on my face, dragging, getting back up. Like, fuck, that's fucking shit. But all right, let me try again. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a couple times I was dragging my feet for sure. But right now, I'm just keeping a little pep in my step and keeping going, and it's been great. It's been great.
Yeah, Vontez and I have been talking about trying to find something to do, like AI videos, or dude, I keep thinking about side businesses and like,
AI shit.
AI shit is I've seen a great many things so far because of that.
I'm telling you, you gotta triple down on the AI. Yo, turn on your cam. You can turn on your cam. You're at work. You're already on the fucking phone. What are they gonna do? Fucking double fire you? No, they're gonna rehire you. You're like, yeah, he's taking it like a champ.
Funny. Yeah, dude, I've seen some wild shit with the AI videos, and it kind of makes me laugh because it's like some of it's really good. Some of it's just like, it's just funny, man. We're in such a strange time right now. Like I remember when that was like super in its infancy, and now it's just like turned into this crazy ass experience. When it's like you look at AI, anything, it's gonna be some interesting shit.
Yes, it's insane what you could do. I mean, I sent you guys some stuff in the Discord. It's wild.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Did you guys see the Elon Musk talking about Neuralink? Do you guys know what Neuralink is?
Dude, yeah, that shit is so crazy.
That's insane. They actually have like 8 people being able to control computers and TVs with their brain. Play Mario Kart with their brain. And then what he said, by 2026, they're going to try to completely repair somebody's vision. And then they literally showed pictures of each stage and how they're going to do it and how it's going to work. And then by 2028, fully integrated with AI. Brother. What?
That's crazy. Yeah, dude, I'm worried about like what the dystopian aspect is. Like, can you imagine like they figure out a way to hack people's Neuralinks and can like control your body or some shit?
Fucking insane. I can see, because it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street, and that's what they're not telling you, really. You know,
it would be kind of crazy if it was like, yeah, because then you'd really have mind control. You could have like bio robots and shit.
Yeah, it's like some shit about the interface between like neural signals and turning that shit into actions, and I'm just like, what? Like,
have you ever seen Altered Carbon? Okay, that's a great one. Long story short, cyberpunk, type world. In the back of your neck, you have a chip. That chip is called your stack. Your body can die. It's called a sleeve, right? Because you can change out your sleeve. But your stack is who you are. So you could live for like 1,000 years because you are in your stack. You are your data chip. And so like in order to die, like die, they call it real death. You get shot in the stack. And only like the elites have multiple stacks and clones and like re-sleeves of their same body because they're like millionaires. Start thinking about that shit, especially with the Optimus robot, because what is it? One of the guys who are on the Neuralink moved the Optimus robot with his hand. And Elon's basically saying at one point you can physically control a robot with your brain. While also
dude, yeah, like surrogate shit.
Fucking crazy, dude. And like nobody knows.
Just like there's exactly what you said on the cyberpunk thing about like it's like that soul killer, like Johnny Silverhand in the fucking NV's head shit. Like that's just crazy that they're even figuring out how to I knew, I was like, what's it going to take for them to figure out how to transfer consciousness to a robot, and you just live on essentially forever like that? What you said, the stack, right? It's like there's this thing that your being is transplanted into, and you can just go from exactly like sleeves. They're just different. It's different flavors for whatever day. You know what I'm saying?
And you can re-sleeve when there's a scene where the guy gets out of prison, and he re-sleeves into a different body. And honestly, it's a great fucking show. Altered Carbon season 1 and 2. Great. But there's people who like their body dies and the government offers you sleeves if you died by accidental death. And so like this 14-year-old girl, no, like this woman basically came back as a 14-year-old girl, like in a body, but she was like really like 67 or something. They're like, grandma.
Dude, yeah, I think I've seen stuff like that where there's like kids that lead people to murder sites and stuff.
Yeah, nutty, dude. We're heading
From,
that
like
way. We're
memories of like past life or something.
Mm-hmm. We're heading there, dude. And I don't know if I'm excited for it or if I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because everything's like so weird. I'm just trying to figure out like how the hell to get by, and I don't know. It's definitely crazy though, man. Like that's some crazy shit coming down the pipeline, and like how our kids are gonna have. It's just it's.
I think 2077 Cyberpunk is pretty accurate with the year. Cybernetics in there. You have some cool cars, but it's still like modern world, you know.
It's great. I think there was a book about that shit too, that someone wrote a book that's like essentially the same type of thing. They're talking about, you know, transplanting your existence, your consciousness into some type of machine and shit. And I think that's where, if I remember it, that's where like Cyberpunk got their whole thing from. But it's just like, we're already on that shit, and they're getting to a point, where people are controlling robots with their brain. Like, damn, what is next? What is next? And then you start thinking about like, what's gonna happen when people get like put in some kind of cyber prison, bro, and then they just fucking never get out of that shit, and you're just in this like box forever. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck? That's so wild. That's so. Do
you want to know here? You want to know my crazy theory, and I think you guys can help me out with this because you guys deal with like data centers, right? A lot of heat, a lot of energy.
Well, yeah, but not like data centers particularly, but
make the chips essentially. So like our companies will like do the R&D and the research and make the chips that, you know, whatever company wants them, auto, fucking healthcare, whatever. Usually it's always some type of tech shit most of the time, like Silicon Valley type tech shit, Windows, Microsoft, Apple, whatever. But yeah, we deal with like making them and then the R&D to make them better because they're always flawed. There's always something wrong with them when they produce them. So they have to do like kind of like spot R&D and then alter their little recipes that they have for the shit. You know what I'm saying? With time. So it's like, that's why like Intel, right? They have like 15 different fucking series of chips because like they started with the first one. Okay, it's cool. It works. It has all these benefits, but there's a bunch of problems with it. It wasn't good power efficiency, blah, 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 whatever. So they just keep iterating. That's all they're doing now at this point. There's not really anything like new coming out anymore. It's just like constant reiteration of stuff to make it better, smaller, more efficient, less power draw, all that shit. But the labs that we're at though are starting to integrate the AI stuff. So I feel like it's going to get kind of wild soon with all of that. You know what I mean?
How is that going to change your guys' is like day to day?
At least for me where I'm at, it's been cool because it's not like they're going to replace us type of thing. Cause there's like things that we can do as humans that a bot really just can't do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's certain things you can look for. You get trained enough to see it. Like, I guess someone could program a machine to do that, but I think it's just not there yet for them to be able to do that.
Right. You're safe for now.
Right. Yeah.
For fucking now. You saved you're saved on the roulette.
It's kind of cool because like it's just helping us do our day-to-day a little easier. Yeah. So just things that we used to have to sit there and do on a computer or, you know, whatever.
This is done. We don't need it though, right?
It's chilling. You know what I mean? We're good. So it's just efficiency. That's all it's doing. Really, it's not taking away from us very much as far as like our sector and the shit that me and him do, but it's just benefiting us for our like productivity in a day and then how much we can get done. That's kind of it. Some people I feel super bad for out here though, because like they're starting to get script writing bots and all this crazy shit. So people who do coding and like engineering and all this shit, like they're worried. They're shitting their pants right now because essentially their jobs are at risk because now bots are figuring that out and they're starting to come up with, you know, code writers that can, or they just don't even have to pay them. You know what I'm saying? It's just the data set.
24/7.
Yep. So I was just watching something about that too, that, yeah, it's just, they're looking to try to eliminate human cost as much as possible because we got to take breaks and we have injuries and we got this and that and we got to take time off for kids and blah, 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 blah. So they're like, it all costs them money. So they're like, how can we do that with AI? And it basically, like, these people, this thing doesn't ever have to take a break. It's always going to work. It will never, it'll just, as long as we keep it going and we maintain the server, everything's fine.
Do you think that's going to like cause people to get like super pissed off eventually and be like, fuck this shit and riot against it?
I think there's the potential for that. I think because people are like scared of it. You know what I'm saying?
Think about it. You have like a hardworking man, went to college, all that shit that he did gets taken away now because of some AI script robot. He has no purpose. He knows nothing else. You know, let's just say that all the plumbers and electricians are already set up, so you can't go into that trade school. Everything else is filled up. The economy itself is like rough. Everybody's tapped out because businesses and raising minimum wages in some states. So it's like all that stuff could play a huge factor into it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's terrible, man.
There's always a way to bounce back. You know what I'm saying? I think people get like super stuck and they're like, I can't do anything else.
Yes.
And it's, I mean, as long as you're breathing and you're alive and blood's flowing through the veins, man, you can do whatever you want to do. It's like, especially if you have to do it, like, you know, it's like shit, man. If you lose your coding job, you got to go get another job. You know what I'm saying? It might be time to look into being a fucking electrician or, you know, something, right? Because trades now too are like at an all-time low for, you know, employment, and people who are like trying to get those jobs, it's just non-existent. Everyone wants tech jobs or STEM shit. You know what I mean?
It's interesting.
Dude, I would totally be an electrician, but I don't want to be an addict, and I totally want like, so just give me like an exosuit with air conditioning and we're good.
That's some tech shit for sure.
No, it's kind of a weird state, man. I'm like worried for what's going on with people and like our country and just everything. I'm a little worried because it's like there's a lot of data showing that people are just not really caring about doing like productive and like valuable things anymore. Like everybody's kind of just trying to do like what they want. Yeah. And a lot of times it's shit that doesn't, like, when you think about it, it doesn't really have like a huge benefit to your common man type of thing.
Of course.
It's kind of, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's what's kind of scary, is it's like we're heading in a weird direction where people are more like interested in being a movie star or this or that or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like doing all this crazy shit, which is cool, but we don't have enough doctors. We don't have enough engineers anymore. We don't have enough like anybody who's in a trade, like any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's
absolutely.
Like,
I think also, well, the times are changing too. So that's where it's just, you look at the future and it's like, all right, if AI is going to be here to stay, which obviously it is, the biggest thing for people to do is just be themselves, to dive deep into the creative arts and just figure out whatever it is that you want to do. And now you can pretty much essentially live that. And people are gonna be like, well, how do I monetize that? Unfortunately, your job and your role in this existence is to pick up a camera and monetize yourself with ads in between. And you may be like, man, that fucking sucks. And I'll say, okay, 100 years ago, there was none of this shit. And your job for your life would have been fucking, if you were a kid, you know, working, cleaning chimneys. You know what I mean? You could have been going through huge world wars. Not saying that we're not going to have any in the future. Who fucking knows? But most likely, right? It's human nature. So it's like, I think during history, every human has their literal job to pay, right? For the vast majority of the world. Corporate, you have your farmers, you have your warriors. Like, there's always a spike in an occupation in history. And the occupation that's coming next is going to be the human themselves. Because even though AI can create AI in TV shows, there's going to be something about, fuck, all right, I'm a little tapped out of AI. Let me go see fucking Jimmy, you know, at the fucking local bar making a fool of himself again while I drink some beers. You can't top that. There's no sensational that can top, you know, seeing Jimmy at the fucking bar, you know, being a jackass for the 15th time in a row. That's just what it is.
That's that huge experience.
Yeah, I think there has to be a mental and perspective shift into occupation moving forward. And there also has to be the huge amount of care. It's going to have to really shift Everything has to shift. Government has to shift. People have to shift. Unfortunately, the generations that we are have to die off in order for the next tech generation to be like, all right, these fucking old geezers are complaining about TikTok dances. Like, we're trying to build fucking shit to sustain us in multiple planets, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? There's going to be some kids that don't give a fuck about what we're talking about. And that's just how that cycle goes, right? But we pass on the good generation to at least some knowledge of here's what's next. And some people listen.
It's just worrying, when you see like there's not like when you think about it, have we had like a figure like Elon Musk and these people like Jeff Bezos and all these like super rich, ultra rich motherfuckers? Like don't get me wrong, there's somebody to like aspire to be and look up to in a way. But
yeah.
You start kind of looking at the situation and it's like we don't have like iconic people anymore like Albert Einstein or fucking any fucking scientist that contributed anything or any sort of shit like that. It's all just people that kind of like did some like quick, easy, it's not quick and easy, but quick, easy in the scope of things, shit that propelled them into this status that's just like insane, like cult-like type shit. People just love them or hate them. It's polarizing type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's, we don't like idolize people who are like actually trying to contribute something to humanity anymore.
Well,
like
I shame them.
I feel like Elon kind of is, but a lot of the other ones are kind of just trying to take advantage and make as much as they fucking can off everybody as quick as they can. And then it's like,
I can tell you why.
You know what I'm saying? Other than that.
Absolutely. And it comes down to the algorithms, right? Because it's all about interest. So if you think about it, like, as we know, Gary Vee says it all the time. It's all about interest craft. It's not social anymore. If you're not interested in the boring shit that you had to pay attention to in school, well, you don't have to do that anymore. You can watch your brain rot shit and fucking do whatever. You don't have to see that this person's working on this Nobel Prize. And because of that, this is the psychological effect that I think people are now missing out on because it's becoming more apparent. Because of that, that little kid that could have been the next Albert Einstein is, respectfully watching Miss Rachel, for the 1200th time because the parents are fucking stressed about modern day shit. And instead of being there present, and teaching this kid some shit, they're fucking singing songs. Or fucking watching, Skibbity Toilet, Giat type shit. You know what I mean? Roblox all day.
It's kind of, I don't know, dude. I'm just, when I think about it, it's like, it kind of just worries me, like the direction that people are heading and stuff.
Yeah.
And then all the data that's been coming out about that, and then our education system and everything else too. I'm just like, fuck, like what's this going to be like for our kids, man? Like, what's this going to be like in 15, 20 years when we're like old ass men, you know what I mean? And we're just out of the pool of activity and what's going down and shit happening. And it's like, what's it going to be like for them, man? I really like wonder that, and especially just because of like how polarizing people get. They get like so one-sided with something, and there can't be anything else. It can't be like, there can't be discussion anymore. There can't be like debate no more. It's got to just be like one or the other, black or white. You know what I mean? And it's just weird. Why are we like that? We're in like the craziest, most technologically advanced time our civilization's ever had. And we're like using it to just further like be separated, which is just crazy. It's crazy as shit when you think about that.
Yeah, I think it's because there's like a human element or like a bandwidth element almost where we don't have a fucking like any other animal. Like there's a level of nuance that fades through. Like when we can't, you just can't, like you can't teach certain things, like birds can't conceptualize and stuff. Like it's outside of their scope of conceptualization. And I think for humans, there's always going to be something outside of the scope of conceptualization for us. And we're going to constantly be like swinging wildly left and right, back and forth forever.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think that we're like advanced enough as a biological like being. You know what I mean? Like I think we were pretty much at our limit.
Yes and no.
Because I think like, dude, when I think about like, I mean, with Neuralink, all that other stuff coming, it will change. But like, you think about the 50s when they were like, dude, it's going to be flying cars and robots and this and that. And like, they had really good fridges. And there were certain like technological advancements back then that they made. And now it's like planned obsolescence, and there's no flying cars. We can't improve our cities. We can barely keep them running. There's this spiraling that's happening, and but I think the future is looking bright. I mean, Neuralink and stuff, and like full self-driving, like there are some crazy things, but it just is interesting to see if it'll be like how it'll be harnessed. Will it be dystopian where like you're gonna go for, like District what's that movie, District 16 or something? So it's like, am I gonna hop in my like FSD Tesla because I can't afford a vehicle or this, that, or whatever, and go from one ghetto to the next ghetto or something, or like, I gotta go like make the pink slime or something, and I get in like a teleportation device to be teleported into some pink slime factory where I have to work for 15 hours a day. And I mean, that's obviously an exaggeration, but I do wonder where it goes. But I think our children are going to be the ones that like are ballast, because their minds are so like adaptive. Like we're thinking in terms of like, really, like we're thinking like old people, man. Like we don't have what they have, and the way that they adapt, and you see it how like each generation has an identity, and the new generations coming in, like Gen Alpha or whatever, like some of them, man, are saying some things that aren't quite so popular with what the the psyops are basically like plate feeding us.
Yep.
So like I think that it's gonna be, because the kids are gonna like pick up on it, like like how often have you tried to trick your kid with something, or like you're trying to get, and they just catch on or some shit, and it's like I just think I think the kids are the key, man, because they are their own people. So there's like a level of rejection that they can like do to like whatever's put in front of them. So if they like sense bullshit, they'll be like, nah. And then you have the parents that are kind of telling them, like kind of guiding them, and then the neuroplasticity will take over, and I think that's the only saving grace. But the psyops are powerful.
You want to know something? Yeah. I realized, and I learned this to mention about, the kids and everything, because that's really where it comes down to. Everybody's protect the kids, this, that, whatever, right? Forever. We all know that kids are the key to the future with whatever way that you shape them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how Starbucks entered into Japan?
How?
When they were kids, when the adults now were kids, they released like coffee, candy, chocolates, and just did a whole bunch of marketing for that for years and years and years and years and years and years. And then came Starbucks to remind you of your childhood. And now the biggest Starbucks ever in the world is in Japan.
That's hella funny. That's programming. You know what I mean?
It makes you wonder, like, humans are... The scary thought is that, and I talked about this in a previous episode, which I say in every episode because I talk about it a lot, a variety of different things, is that the way that our brains fucking work, once you crack the code... All right, you got to rewind like a little bit. It goes back to like when you're scrolling on TikTok, right? 2020, 2023 is when I remember seeing it. It was like, if you go down this path, like you can never go back. You know what I'm talking about? Like those videos, it all comes across our fucking feed at one point. And I think like that was our like rite of initiation. Like, all right, how fucked is my future going to be? Am I going to watch this video all the way through and start going down these crazy rabbit holes? And then you realize like reality is nothing at all what it seems, and perspectives and everything else shapes differently. And it's just constant ideas attacking ideas, and humans are just caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, I think too, when they waste those kinds of like that Starbucks thing, for example, is like a lesson that you can teach to your kids to be like this, humans can be conditioned and tricked. And it's like there's a guy like, and see, like there's all these lessons that we pick up in all these different ways, and we're kind of like AI in a sense where like we have a neural learning network in our brains.
Yeah.
And it's able to make inferences from examples. So like there was this dude that does, have you seen those guys where like they'll talk real quick and real sly, and they'll be like, how's your day? And they're basically these, not illusionists, but they distract you, and they take your watch off your wrist and untie your tie and take your belt off, and it's for a crowd, and it's funny. Haha,
Yeah.
But one guy was explaining how he does it, and he was like, basically your brain is like Frank the security guard, like in a movie. And, Frank the security guard has a bunch of monitors, but he can only look at one. So all I'm doing is taking Frank the security guard's attention and putting it on one monitor, and I can do whatever I want. and your security guard has no idea what's going on. And you can find that with conditioning and manipulation, whatever. And like, yeah, that Starbucks thing, man, like
it's crazy.
That's where I think like these examples, like our kids will make even crazier inferences because their brains are so young that I think they start to grow up in a world where they go, oh, and I think it the powers that be will have to constantly step up their initiatives, but they are old and they're never going to really be able to beat out the, adaptiveness of a child's brain. So I think that's kind of how this stuff balances itself, but it is interesting, man. It's all so crazy.
Do you guys think that free will's already gone because of programming and because of social media? And now that it's all
probably I would say so to a certain degree. Yeah,
cost to it, right? Like there's a cost to it for sure, and I feel like people kind of lost the plot somewhere in this. I think, like, I really do think the advent of the internet kind of brought that on in a way, because a lot of things changed and people, it seemed like moral compasses and other things kind of just dissolved after that. Why? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of shit people will do in society just to try to get a click on the net, which is crazy. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is too. It could be some wild shit. You know what I mean? I've seen people just doing some like total degenerate shit just to get viral on the internet. And I'm like, I feel like, yeah, you've lost your ability to control yourself and what you're doing, because all you care about is like the success and the getting to the same spot as that guy who was on Instagram or whatever the fuck. So you're like, you're so hell bent on that you'll do whatever. So it's like you're not doing your own shit anymore. You're following the prescribed thing that's like, here, do this and you'll become super famous and super popular and blah 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 blah. There's no more will in that. Then it's just gone. You're just operating basically like a fucking zombie, like autopilot thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I definitely understand. That's probably one of the biggest things in fear of me going into like doing social media again, because that's what it felt like. Like, let me bring you back to like behind the camera 2020, doing full-time streaming, like when I was popping, right? Having a great time. It really felt like that. If I tried to do certain things that were like starting Rogue Company and playing that game when it was just like Warzone, but I couldn't do Warzone. But it was like, you have to do it, and if you can't do it, then you can't stay in this genre and you're gonna get cut, because that's where it is to stay with the crowd. So it's like, it really does test you and your character and your morals to say, all right, are you willing to like suffer and do this job, right? Like I said, like everybody has a job. Even some streamers, like you hear them talking about burnout. Like it may sound fun and exciting, like playing games all day, and it is, and it's a very easy job, but it takes a toll on your physical body. Your mental, you're fucking chilling, right? Like you're good, but your physical is also your reality. So when you ignore that part of it and you just focus on everything else of the mental, it takes a toll on you, and it brings you through like alternate realities, because like you think you're here because your chat tells you something. You see that like you get these comments like you're a piece of shit. You get emails like you're fucking dope. You get other people saying like this guy's a fucking hack. You like just see all these different things. And if you're not ready for that, like people don't prepare you for that, it fucks you up. So it's like you have to follow the trends to get majority of like that blissful serotonin and be like, yeah, this is fucking working. And if not, you're fucking chewed up. You're chewed up for being original is now like and that then as a result of it kills people's creativity, which then shoves them to just follow trends or just not even be a part of the like social world at all. Because whenever you try to step out, all is met was just like with animosity and hate. You know what I mean? And very few people know how to navigate that in a way that's not being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I've noticed that with streams too, man, that like you go into streams, like I've been on Kick, I've been on YouTube, I've been on fucking Twitch, I've been on pretty much all of the streaming platforms now. And the thing I notice is like everybody's shit's always the same. Everyone's just sitting at a desk, hella quiet, playing video games. And it's like, I do that shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody kind of does that now. And it's like, yeah, what do you like? I mean, people have this expectation that you're just going to like pop off. And it's like, then we get these dummies who go, terrorize people's countries and shit, and they're just like a nuisance in public for the stream and shit. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Yes. It's like, hey, what are we doing, man? We like lost the plot.
Dude, yeah, I saw a thing that said like just one of the I think Tim the Tap Man, he was like, dude, just chatting has like 700K and there's like 100K watching games or something, and he was like, everything's different, it's changing, you're not going to have Ninja streaming to 100,000 anymore.
No,
you have drama farms and pranks and this and that and Kais and that and whatever.
Do you want to know why?
Yeah, what's up?
My bad to cut you off.
No, good. Yeah, because we can stay on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a saying, and I think I've said this before, is that ever since when I started streaming on YouTube doing Rocket League shit, which is around that time we met. This is when Ninja was popping off and getting 100,000 viewers, right? He was on his way up. This kid came into my stream on YouTube and he was like, damn, Ninja's on. I was like, all right, bro, catch you later. Peace out. Right? And he left. And we're just vibing, playing Rocket League still, having a great time. And then he comes back, and I wasn't expecting him to come back at all because it's fucking Ninja playing Fortnite, getting and in his prime right now. Like Tfue, like was just about his name was still young. You know what I mean? So it's like before
the prime
Fortnite. Yeah, prime Fortnite, where it was just like if you had that sniper in your hand and you heard that tink, like you were fucking killing it, right? Nobody really knew how to build yet. Like that perfect time of gaming. All right, enough on that. So it was good. It was fucking good time. This kid came back, right? Which announcing on how great that time of gaming was, him coming back was a shock to me. I was like, bro, why? He was like, because you're my favorite. Ninja's the best, but you're my favorite. And that turned into a saying with me that just stuck. Like, I would rather be somebody's favorite streamer than the best streamer, best creator, best person in the world. Because you're only watching the best because he's the best. But guess what? Somebody else can be the best and easily take the spot of being the best more than your favorite, because that's my favorite. If you're telling me I'm having like enchiladas, I'll have that shit multiple times more than my favorite, like the best food there is, because that's subjective at the end of the day. The people say that's the best. So it's like at the end of the, and this goes back to the occupation thing I was telling you about, because I've thought so hard about all these topics and how they infuse. It's like, this is why people need to double down on themselves and not so much what other people are creating, but create within, right? Be that person and explode with that. That's why, for an example, Sam Sulek blew up in the gym area because everybody was like, I can bench so much, right? And he came in like, yeah, I'm a really fucking cool guy. I fucking love McDonald's and it's fucking great. And I can fucking bench your whole house. What the fuck is up? You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. That's like, I think that's why Ninja fell off, is because like
personality.
He was only the best. He wasn't like, he was some people's favorite for sure, but like that's bound to happen. But yeah, it is interesting, man. Like somebody like the Burnt Peanut is like my new favorite streamer right now.
Yes.
And he's blowing up, but he just goes so like, I think that style too is like the future, where like you don't have a cringe model, but every time somebody changes his outfit, it's money. And then you've got push to talk, or the AI bot that you can ask questions, that's money. You've got text to speech, that's money. You've got all kinds of ways where people, subs, all kinds of stuff. And he streams, I think, to 3 platforms at once all the time and pushes shorts on everything. And he's got a super engaging format, and it's just like,
that's so much.
Yeah, if you sit around in a room, you can't just sit and play games anymore. It's kind of weird. Like,
it's a business.
There's this dude that's top like 10 now, Unreal on Ballistic, because he grinds, I think. But I'll hop into a stream. Sometimes I watch to try to learn, but the dude just doesn't like really interact with chat or talk to anybody. He only gets like a few viewers at most, and I'm just like, yeah, streaming's hard, man. It's so, I see why people like Jinxie, was it? Who, I think he had a thing where he was streaming like 1 to 3 hours per stream and only doing it like 3 days a week. And then you can really focus in and give it your all, which I understand. You could totally put on a show for 1 to 3 hours. I mean, the Burnt Peanut is crazy because he'll stream for like 7 hours, and he streams from like 6 p.m. to like 6 a.m.
It's fucking dog.
It's fucking crazy. The dude's on all the time, and he'll get drunk and he calls it his silly juice, and he's just vibing constantly.
That is the authenticity right there. That is people being themselves and getting into a character that they can naturally be in, right? And I learned that a lot in like the acting part of my life. It's like there's the part where you're acting for the role to be somebody else, and then there's like this role was made for me. And the best role that you can play is the role that was made for you, to be drinking your silly juice, call yourself the burnt peanut, and fucking rock out on Tarkov. You know what I mean? And just be a goof.
That's facts, dude. You know, and it's funny that the whole thing has shifted. Like we were talking about, like, this dude's genuinely funny and he puts on a show. That's the thing. Is he good at Tarkov? Yeah. There's 50 other streamers though that are way better than him at Tarkov. Way better, right?
The best or your favorite.
Exactly. That's the thing. Is it's like this dude is blowing up though because people just love to be there. People love to watch him and see what he's gonna do, because him and his homies get together and they just say wacky shit and they're just having a grand old time. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say this too, to further the point? Just to further the point even more. And I don't know, some people may not like this, but think about Kobe Bryant. Do you think he was pleasant to be around when it was training time? Fuck no. Right? Because he was the best. In order to be the best, you have to say fuck you to a lot of things and or people, and put time into the one thing that at some days in your life you may not want to do but force yourself to do. That's what it's like being the best. Right? So when there's downtime, there probably is no downtime for them to be leisure. They don't have a personality to gravitate towards. Respectfully, I'm not saying that like blatantly, like he was a fucking, or anybody who's great is paper dry, right? But what I'm saying is people who are more naturally themselves and creative and spontaneous in that, and somebody's favorite, you're more likely to be somebody's favorite than if I'm going to be the best at this one thing. It comes at a cost, and that is the cost. People will glorify your work, but there's going to be like an umbrella gap, essentially. Like people close to you will tolerate you, but the people who are like not so close, they're going to fucking get the stiff arm. You know, they're going to get told no. They're going to get the fucking, he hasn't texted me back in 2 months, but you know, he's my cousin type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I kind of realized that though recently, because I've been trying to hit the streaming thing hella hard again too, and like do the shorts and the this and the that, and I'm like, the more I like really try to like force it, the more it's like just not gonna do what I wanted to do. I gotta kind of let it flow. And that's where it's like, yeah, honestly, like the next stream I do is probably gonna be some like just watching YouTube and hanging out and just chatting, just to fucking look at shit that's going on, world events, funny stuff, whatever, and just like chill and laugh, man. Because you know, it's like gaming is a dime a dozen, but if you offer something that like people actually value and like a connection and shit, that's where things can pick up. You know what I'm saying? But watching you like showed me a lot, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you branched out to a lot of different things and you found a good measure of success in them, which is fucking cool. And to have somebody who's like that, you know, around us is like, okay, that's what's up. It was inspiring for sure. Cause it was like,
really?
Yeah, dude. I mean, fuck, you're one of our homies. And like, we'd come into your stream and people were just moving the chat. You know what I'm saying? And like, clearly people love to hang out and do their thing, man. It was cool to see that. Cause it was like, all right, okay, maybe it's not so fucking impossible. You know what I'm saying? But
it's a lot.
Yeah, no, that's what's crazy though, is I did see like the behind the scenes and the Discord and the this and like just how much time you're putting into that. And it's like, oh, that's no joke, man. You got to really like want to do it. You got to want to do it.
It would be 24-hour streams and then going to Federico's at 5 a.m. because they opened up, having a breakfast burrito, going to sleep for 4 hours, waking up, looking at content, replying to comments, looking for sponsorship deals, planning out content, taking a shit, taking a piss, eating real quick, getting right back to it. People are asking, hitting me up on Discord and DMs, hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do that? Then you get your random bots. And then like, hey, when you streaming, can I get a free PC? Can I get a free PC? Please, please, please. Can I get a free PC? Like just crazy shit. Right? Especially when I was doing that. So there was that whole exhausting part, like that business side to it, that if I knew what I know now, I could have handled it way better and like quadrupled everything that I was doing and never would have left probably. Right. But I'm glad that I still walked away, because at the end of it, like it seems so glamorous, but there's that heavy lifting to it that in order at that time, there wasn't these many tools to make things simple. Like you had to work for that shit. And I remember I was making a TikTok live. I was like I was making a TikTok and I was just like doing it live on TikTok at the same time, right? Showing people like, hey, this is going to go out tomorrow. thing, and I was like, it's guaranteed to get 50,000 views in the first 24 hours. And that's because I was putting my soul, my heart, my like blood, sweat, and tears into this every day just to know my analytics and where things were going to be. And it did. Like in 24 hours, it hit 50,000 views, you know, and it was a Warzone one. And it's just like, I already know I'm going to post it at this time. This many people are going to come in. And from that, we're going to get this many people. Like I was living in my analytics, and that's what it is. It does become numbers. So when people are like, damn, like this streamer doesn't give a shit anymore. It's like, yeah, he probably fucking doesn't, because that social personality aspect is gone. And it's just the numbers. If you're not careful.
Yeah. Right? Burnt Peanut was basically saying exactly what you just said, where he was like, dude, every now and then he'll talk about it, but he's like, dude, I fucking like, this shit used to be kind of just like that, where he was more or less saying like, this shit used to just be getting on and gaming with the boys and fucking, I didn't have fucking shit to do. And he's like, now I have so many fucking meetings, I don't even understand what the fuck. He's like, I'm the busiest fucking person I know. I have fucking full fucking days of shit and meetings, and I have fucking he's like, what the fuck?
Yep.
And he's just like completely like beside himself of like, it just went from vibing to like, I have fucking meetings now.
I have to stream.
Grinding, bro.
That's like you have to stream for the payroll for the people that are helping you run the business in order for you to maintain your life.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Especially if you have the editors and people who are like social media team type shit and all that stuff. Like, yeah, dude, people got to get paid, especially, you know, like, especially
even before he hired people too. It's like he's just alone, hour by hour, fucking scheduled out.
That's exactly right. That's exactly why for this, I was getting caught up and I saw myself and I was like, by June, I'm going to start this podcast, because I've been talking about it for fucking years. I started it actually back in 2020. It was called the Beeswax Podcast. And I did like 2 episodes and I was like, yeah, shut the fuck up. You're stupid. Don't ever fucking speak again. Don't ever do this shit again. And now I'm like, oh, maybe. But that's why I was just like, Google Meets, it fucking goes back and forth between the editing. Like it does all that shit for me. I could throw it in CapCut and put on captions, but that's weird on YouTube. Let me just throw it up, make sure the thumbnail reflects who it is, title, some tags. That's it. And just let it go word of mouth. Like Joe Rogan has probably helped me, like, I hate to say that, like knock some sense into me when it comes to this shit, because he grew up in a time where it was like, there was no monetization off of this shit. I grew up in a time where there is monetization and I need it to be my job, versus he started off doing Fear Factor, TV, comedy, little TV shows, and then decided to do this at 42.
Yeah.
Fucking, you know what I mean?
Too. That's what's crazy. Shit like
and he was like, this is what got me. I never marketed it to anybody. And I was like, let me see his episode. So I went back. It's like $2.99 on his YouTube channels, as far back as you can go. And it's a little rough. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. This is how his looked at $2.99. That's what my number 1 looks like. Fuck yeah. Okay. All I need to do is put in reps, baby. Give a fuck about everything else. I don't give a shit about the monetization. I don't give a shit about this is brought to you by Pedigree. Feed your dog the good shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck about. I don't. Does it matter? And would it be nice? Yeah. But at the same time, if I focus on that right now, and and I say that for anybody who's watching this, because in my head, I'm like, I'm going to clip this because this is good and I'm going to post it out. But in reality, I probably won't. But like, you have to get out of your head with whatever it is you want to accomplish or start, and just go fucking take the action. You're gonna look stupid. You're gonna look like a dumbass. You're gonna look back in 6 months and be like, damn, that was nothing. But guess what? You're gonna look back in 6 months and be like, damn, I wish I started. Either way, you're gonna look back in 6 months in a negative. Might as well be a negative that equals a positive, because then you can say, well, now I'm on episode fucking 62. That's crazy. And yeah, oh shit, I did get better. That's fucking crazy. That episode was a little weird, but I learned from that. I'm having fun. Oh shit, I made $5. That's cool.
Yeah, I feel like the journey is what it's all about, man. And like what you can learn in the analytics is interesting. I saw a video of a dude walk up to some guy cleaning porta potties. It's probably all staged. But he was, and I don't even know if he gave the guy money, but he was like, what do you do? Oh, can I give you $500 to come work with you for the day? And he was like, what the, but it's like writing essays. It's a hook for the viewer. Like, wait, this guy's going to get, oh, what? It it hooks you. And I don't know. Yeah, it's just, he's in his analytics, so he knows he's going to make that 500 back.
Exactly.
Or not even give it to the fucking guy.
And that's what Mr. Beast realized early on, when he was like, all the money I get, I dump back into the video. Because for any one of us, right? Who, like, let's say all the dads out there, for easy example, diapers, formula, all that shit, gas. Then you got to worry about the car. The wife's not worrying about the car, right? They'll check the engine, like engine oil comes on. You're like, fuck, now I got to change that, or I want to take it to the dealership. Now I'll do it. Gives me an like excuse to buy a 6-pack of beer. I got to change my oil. And you know what, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's one of those things where it's just, you got to go do it.
That's what, it's funny that you say that, dude, because recently I took a long hiatus from doing anything on here and doing any of this shit. And when you sent me that, like, you want to do the pod, I was like, oh, dude, that'd be fun, actually, because I had always talked about doing pods with some of our friends, but and especially one of them, he was always like, yeah, bro, we gotta do a fucking podcast, bro, we gotta do a fucking podcast. Yes, and he just, every time I was like, yo, let's do it, he was just like, okay, and then he just wouldn't show up. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, all right, well, that's cool, I guess, like, you know, whatever. But it was funny though, because when you said that, I was thinking, I just told 2Castle like 3 weeks ago, some shit. Like, I'm just gonna post shit, bro. I'm just gonna whatever. Like, I'm gonna stop getting in my head about it and going, oh, it's stupid, or oh, it's not good, or oh, it's this, or it might not be the greatest thing in the world, but that's exactly what you were talking about, where it just gets better with repetition. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, then you kind of figure out like what it is that gets you there. You know what I mean? With some time, with some experience, with continuing to just actually do the thing. Because I think that's part of like the whole thing is you get real disillusioned and you're like, I don't have 500,000 people watching me right now. Fuck, this is terrible. I'm failing. And then it's like, yeah, those people didn't get there though that quickly. Like, if you really like when you realize it, like you were talking about Joe Rogan, right? Like his first few episodes were hella rough. Shit got way better with time though. And getting crazy people on there, scientists and physicists and, you know, all kinds of cool, like just cool shit. That was like one that he had the Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, I think it was, on there, like two geophysicists and shit. That episode blew my fucking mind, dude, because it was like they were talking about shit that I had never known about the planet. You know what I mean? Like the Grand Canyon and all this shit, like how it formed, why it formed,
cool shit,
runoff, melting, all this crazy. And it's like, dude, I wouldn't have known that unless I watched that shit.
Isn't that tight?
It's crazy. You know what I mean? But
now,
you don't start out that way though. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm just fucking boom, I'm in success. You know what I'm saying? But some people get hella lucky with that shit, which is crazy. But yeah, it's a fucking journey though. And it's been cool to like see your journey. Cause I'm like, damn, it's attainable, man. It's attainable.
It definitely is. And it's funny because it's like in 2020 when everything was popping, like it really wasn't any crazy success that I thought either. Because it really just was numbers. The day-to-day was still the same. You know what I mean? Like it was exciting going from waking up at 6 a.m., posting a video, because that was my routine. Make a video once a day, set an alarm, post it, go to sleep, wake up, start my day. Like I had a schedule. I would wake up 6 a.m. every morning and just post a video, go back to bed. Just because of New York time. That's why. I wanted to make sure that people in New York saw it, since we're over here on the West Coast. Went to sleep at 4,000 followers, woke up to like 80,000 in like 2 hours. Followers. That wasn't even views on the video. And I was like, what? And in 24 hours, it was like 200,000 views, followers, right? Like literally, you can change your life overnight. And because I even say that now, it doesn't mean anything now, because that it still doesn't do anything. Like the fairy tale stories of what everything is just that, fairy tale stories. So it's weird sometimes, like, and I mean this with respect, when you're like, yeah, dude, it's so obtainable, like it's awesome. And it's like, dude, but it's so weird because for me, you guys saw like me being crazy, air guitaring and all this shit, doing fucking flips and having the time of my life. Like we all did. But and then like there was that dread of like, fuck, like depression on the off camera. So and that's where the imposter syndrome comes from, because then you get these messages from like people like, yo, bro, you're saving my life. And you're like, bro, who the fuck's saving mine? And you're like, oh, it's these guys. I got to show up tomorrow. They're going to fucking expect me, or this kid's going to be pissed. You know what I mean? Sure. Like there's that responsibility to it. It's massive. It's huge. And it's rough when you give a shit. I'll say that.
Yeah. I guess that would make it hard to start actually giving a shit about it, caring about it. Whatever the word is, you know what I mean? It probably adds a whole other layer that fucks you up. I think that's what's been happening to me lately too, is I was like really caring about it, and I was like 2Castle, like, what do I do? What fucking platform should I go stream on? And it's like, doesn't matter what fucking platform you stream on. You could do all of them, and it'll be the same. It's like you got to do what's right for you, and your like like your niche, if you will. Essentially, you got to find that. I think that's the experimentation phase of it. Is like you got to find that niche, and then once you do, boom. But it's such a different world now. So all of that, like we were talking about, how it's like you can't just sit there and play games no more. It ain't like that anymore.
No,
it's different.
You have to put on a show. You have to put on a nighttime show. Late night show. That's who it is. Like podcasts aren't even podcasts. What are they called? Like the George Janko show. Like mine, the Gino Zabala Show. Like I got caught up on the name, the Gino Zabala Podcast, the Authentic Podcast, because I want people to be real. No, that's fucking gay. Yeah, I'll just do my name. Fuck it.
Hell yeah.
That's hella funny, bro.
Yeah, I did it. Oh fuck! Wait, I had a thought. I lost it. Never mind.
Bring it back. Reel it in, baby. Reel it in. Catch that shit.
Yeah, it was about
C4 Shanghai.
I remember I was definitely thinking about like how I had this idea for I saw somebody talk about this on Twitter, but they were just like, yeah, I can't remember. Fuck, I forgot. So one of the things I was gonna say, this is gonna be a total fucking like offshoot, but not really. But yeah, like podcasting and shit, and these interview things, and I was like, dude, what would be cool is like to go around Silicon Valley and try and get interviews with all these different companies, and just like, yeah, I'm just trying to do interviews of like the industries and stuff, so I can put it up on the internet, so that people that are going to school or like young, teenagers and kids have no idea what they want to do and what life is like and what how hard is it? What's it like to wake up to a 9 to 5? What's it like to come to work? What do you do at work? What does this degree get you? What does that degree get you? Like, I was just like, dude, that would be cool though, because then I could go and interview all these people. And then it was like, if you do well enough, you're essentially, each time you're interviewing them, they're kind of interviewing you. And it realistically was like a life hack to get job interviews. If you approach an electrician or another company or whatever, and you're like, I want to talk to you about this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then like, oh, cool. Like you like we were talking about earlier, where you can kind of psychologically hack humans. It's basically like doing that. And you kind of psychologically hack them to get your foot in the door with them. And either it pays off in you pivoting into another job or another field or some kind of favor or friends or whatever, or it takes off as a platform that you can, it just takes off and you get money.
And that's the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah, because like
unless you're in England, then you go to jail for that shit.
That's actually true. That's hella funny. You do. I don't know, man. This whole like discussion about AI and the internet and how this shit is going to, it's like I keep thinking about that. That's on my mind so much too.
Like, it'd be a trip
which is
to
wild,
go and interview people that are either developing AI or developing chips for it.
Dude, did you see that one where Rogan was talking to the guy who's like the machine learning analyst and shit?
No.
And how they program these AI to think and reason and do these things?
I don't think I did.
What have we got?
It's I'm gonna have to find it. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but it was just like when hearing this dude talk about how they're programming these things, like they kind of just give the thing like a script or like a prompt, if you will, and it thinks like us, which is the weirdest thing. Like it's low key like its own sentient thing now at this point, because they have made it in a way where it's just a digital brain. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's like starting to recognize that we are essentially using and abusing it, and not like we don't have very much value to it. It's hella weird. I'm gonna have to look into that one again, because it was some of the shit that he was talking about was just like,
maybe I did see that. I saw one where like they were talking like there was a guy at Google that was freaking out.
I can't remember his name.
Oh shit, I might have.
What were you saying?
My service might be fucked. Hold on.
Oh.
There was while he figures that part out real quick. There was a part that I was watching. The diary. I think it's a Diary of a CEO on YouTube. He gives great podcasts, and he's had some people on there, and he had the godfather of AI. And it kind of really throws into perspective that they've been working on AI for 50 years. Like this guy's whole life was to developing AI. Now, I want to add another perspective and layer to really open up your mind. Think about it. We have AI available to us now because they gave it to us. How long have they had this and been able to use it to advance certain technologies that we don't even fucking know exist in general? In my opinion, I think like when aliens crashed, like the technology we got was how to access the internet, because think about it, the internet is virtually the frequency waves in the air visually.
Isn't that some weird shit?
That's the craziest shit.
These invisible fucking data waves that are just traveling through the fucking ether, and it's like this right now, what we're on.
Yeah.
You could technically intercept it if you had the right shit and just be watching it without the link. The shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
we humans are connected to that same frequency.
Yeah, how did we come up with this? You know what I mean? I'm always puzzled by like how the fuck did we come up with this? All this stuff, you know what I mean? All this tech. So you can talk. I'm talking to you right now, and you're way the fuck away from me. Whole other time zone, all that shit. You're gonna talk to a guy in Japan soon, which is just like back in the day. That was like, what? You're not gonna do that. You gotta go.
Right. Think about how crazy that is. Like we have the same language in order to communicate that halfway across the world. We know what to say. His neurons are firing in order to understand what I'm saying, vice versa, like all the way down into a crazy molecular level. Like I think about that shit daily because it's like fucking tight as fuck. You know what I mean? Like I could do something that could piss somebody off or make somebody happy. Like the world and everything around it. Like I'm on the verge. I say this every day and it keeps me sane, but I'm on the verge of like an existential crisis on how fragile like consciousness and life and everything is. It's fucking wild.
That's a whole I've been thinking about very, very, very often. I think it happened the most once we had the kids. I started really thinking about how fragile existence is and how quickly things can turn from very good in life to very fucking bad very quickly.
Yeah.
And it just makes me thankful for like where we are, where we were born, what we have. You know what I'm saying? Because in some places it's like that shit is just I don't know. I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube just watching how other people like live in other parts of the world and shit. And I'm just like
insane.
It's fucking crazy. Some of the shit
humbles you.
Yeah, just today, a normal day for them can just be infinite work, going and scrapping shit out of a fucking like just a landfill type thing where all the did you see that video about the biggest like e-waste dump in the world and shit is somewhere in India? Dude,
I believe it though.
That shit was like eye-opening because it's like you think about all the e-waste that we've had through the years since this advent of technology and shit, and then you see that video of that. It's basically like a documentary, but it's like there's just mountains of shit that's like circuit boards, PCBs, fucking chips, computers, monitors, blah blah. And it's just when you see how much we've gone through in the last like 10 years, it's like, whoa, holy fuck, dude. Like this shit has moved so fast at such an accelerated rate that it's like we haven't even been able to realistically keep up with it. You know what I mean? Because it's been progressing so fast. But then you see like this is how some people have to live their life is they burn that shit down and their whole existence is like sitting there in front of that shit while it's being burned. Like think of all the chemicals they're inhaling and all the crazy shit they're getting.
The rest of their life.
Yeah, literally. For like as short as it's going to be too, because it's never like these people are fine. Like they always have some crazy fucking health problems or something is fucked up really bad. And it's like, damn, like you start thinking about how lucky you are to live in a place like this, man. It's crazy. Oh, you having hardware issues, bro? Okay.
Yeah.
2Castle's about to dip because he's got them hardware issues.
Bum, bum, bum. But dude, you're right. You're absolutely right. Like that's definitely how it is. It's terrifying when you think about it like that, because that's the one of the perspectives. Like when it's like, do you really want to go down this rabbit hole? That you realize Because it's not just knowledge, but it's also like emotional intelligence. And once you have an emotional intelligence of empathy, like fully understanding it, that's when it hits you, because you're like, yeah, somebody out there right now is waking up and doing something 10 times worse that's probably hurting them, killing them. They don't even know it, or they do know it and they have to do it anyway. Like, and I get to fucking sit down in AC bitch and complain that, oh man, I need another beer. You know what I mean? Like, that shit throws everything into perspective, because who is fueling the internet? Like, it comes at a cost that I don't think the people who are using it understand. You know? It's so crazy, dude. There's so much to it that just boggles my mind. And I'm excited for the future, don't get me wrong, but I feel like just seeing how the average person is really selfish instead of selfless, or even better yet, looking at another perspective with an open mind and saying, like, I think we talked about this earlier, we can disagree and still like chill.
Yeah.
Like that's gone out the window. It's black or white nowadays, which sucks. There's no gradient, and people need the gradient. They need that. They don't know that they need it. But as soon as you present them with the gradient of, hey, look, there's something else that's like half and half. No, fuck that. Fuck compromise. Fuck everything that you have to say. It's like, well, damn.
Like as a civilization, as like a people and as a civilization and shit, because it isn't. There's so much that's going on right now too. That's just like, there's no way it's black and white, man. There's so much nuance, you know, so much nuance to all these situations, man. And
yeah,
it's so weird that the internet's made people so like one or the other. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. Especially lately, people have gone to this extreme where it's like you're one or the other. Either you're with it or you're against it. And if you're against it, you're labeled as what X thing that they want to say that you are this fucking week or this day or this month or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
What's even crazier on top of that, it's like, I think the ideology of people is, back then you would be a label and it would classify a variety of different things. Now what I think's happened is, let's say 47 out of 50 of those things have been forgotten. And it's just like 3 key things now make up a certain label. Right. And I don't mean that in any specific sense. Like, I'm just saying that generically, but I think it still applies to this time, meaning that people can be like, if you don't agree with these 3 main ideas that I have personally that make me this, then you are a piece of shit, because I am this, and these main ideas are who I am, not the whole encompassing ideas. Like, what the depth of that is, people don't fully understand what and who they saying and backing up, right? When they classify themselves as something, because the times are changing, and what was back then for a certain phrase is no longer now. Things have vastly changed. And I said this earlier, but people, society, government, all of it needs to be just flowing with the shift, because there's nothing you can do. Like, if you rage against it, there's always going to be negative. There's always going to be a fight. There's always going to be chaos. There's always going to be animosity, right? Like an adversity, and people just contrastly against each other. There's never going to be unity. There just never will be. That's the unfortunate truth that I think people are delusional about, because everybody has a subjective view, because what you see from your perspective is vastly different from mine. Times that by 1 billion, you're going to have conflicting interests. So the idea that everybody can be unified as one, I think, is just, unfortunately, it can't happen unless you then adapt to the principles of, all right, let's create a new label. We're not going to fucking kill each other. We're fucking chill. If you have a problem, talk it out. Like, it doesn't have to be aggressive. Like, just accept people. Obviously, it's a lot more complex than that. But I think that then will allow more societies to have people be smarter and develop more common sense to do more good for humanity instead of fucking bullshit.
I hope so. I hope that's what comes out of it, honestly, because it's like a good point, honestly. Like, it makes you just wonder, like, what's next? What's the next stage? What's the next chapter? Like, what are we gonna do once this hurdle is, we've gotten over this hurdle, essentially, as a species, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, dude. It's freaky, man. It's still fun though, because I mean, think about how much cool shit there is. Like, video games are probably going to be 10 times better and probably 10 times more expensive because of that.
to get a game. Now it's like 70. Easy.
Yeah, the fact games have gotten that expensive is wild. I try to figure out a justification for it, but I don't know.
Like 2 seconds to put my daughter to bed. I'll be back.
One more time, say it.
What's that?
Say it again.
Is it cool if I step away for 2 seconds to put my daughter to bed real quick?
Yeah. We could call it here because usually it goes about an hour during the weekdays, and then Fridays I do like 2 hours.
Okay. All right. As long as you feel like it's good, man. I've been enjoying this for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's cut it here, and then we'll hop back on Discord and we'll fucking get some games in.
All right. Sounds good, bro.
All right, brother. I'll catch you.
Yes, sir.
All right, late. And that is today's episode. Thank you for watching. Have a great fucking night.